Before we dive in, just a quick note for you guys. My live stream actually lost its audio after 2 minutes. Even though YouTube kept pretending everything was fine and still running for almost 50 minutes. So yes, what you're watching here is silent, but the views were simply too beautiful not to show you. So keep watching. We'll walk across the Christmas market on Old Town Square with that stunning tree and all the delicious stalls, and later follow the royal route towards Charles Bridge. Later, the stream collapsed completely, and that's when I started a second live stream. But don't worry, you still get all the magic here. So, now you can clearly see why I stepped into the Praga Magica Museum in the first place. To escape the huge crowds that gather here every single hour, all twisting their necks just to catch a glimpse of the famous astronomical clock. There are really a lot of people here, but don't worry. Later at Charles Bridge, there will be even more. So consider this just a warm up crowd. But even though the market is packed with people, I think the atmosphere is truly beautiful. So festive, so warm, and honestly a little magical against the backdrop of the old town. Look at the church here, the Mary column, the other church that a lot of people say it looks like the Harry Potter castle, right? I'm really sorry you can't hear the atmosphere right now. The Christmas music, the voices, the warmth. People were enjoying themselves, and the whole square felt like pure holiday magic. I mean, once you don't mind the crowds. But with me, crowds are never a problem. So I think I simply have to return and show it to you once more with sound, with music, with everything exactly the way it was. So here, for example, you can see some of the traditional enamelware, something you'll find at almost every authentic Czech Christmas market. It's simple, practical, and I have a soft spot for it because when my kids were small, I bought them enamel mugs just like these. They were basically indestructible, unlike porcelain. Yeah, langosh. That's a Hungarian classic, but you can find it at every Czech market as well. And this is my once a year guilty pleasure. The one thing I simply cannot walk past. Cheese, ketchup, garlic, absolutely irresistible. And once again, it's such a pity you can't smell any of the amazing food that was filling the market air. And of course, it's equally a pity that YouTube decided to sabotage us as a little this day. You're missing all the music and the full Christmas atmosphere that was happening around me. But even in silence, I hope the magic comes through. You could actually turn on a bit of Christmas music in the background while watching this, just so it doesn't feel quite so silent. Pick a nice radio station, a playlist, whatever you like. Look at these dumplings, don't they look super delicious? There were some sweet dumplings, and here some salty. Here I was on my way to find the nativity. Yeah, this langosh again. I'm hungry. What do you think of the traditional handcrafted pieces they sell here? Like this glass Christmas tree decorations. These traditional hand-blow Christmas baubles. That's a craft that has a very long history here. Each one is made by hand, which makes them really special. Here are some glass birds. I really like them because my grandparents had birds like these on their tree. So for me, they're both old school and a little special. They are wonderfully fancy with real feathers for tails. Would you like something like this home? Yeah, here you can see there's always some cultural program happening here, almost every day. If you don't mind the silence, just enjoy the lights, enjoy the beautiful atmosphere here, the old town square, and the winter mood for a moment. And if it helps, imagine the scent of all the yummy food around here: cinnamon, roasted nuts, mulled wine, trdelník, Prague ham, langosh, and maybe you're even a little grateful it's not you who has to make their way through these crowds right now. I'm doing that part for you. Another beautiful decorations, right? And if you do mind the silence, it's not me, it's YouTube cut the stream audio, but I was prepared and I made a screen recording. But you can always put on a little Christmas playlist at home while watching. It matches the scene perfectly. So, I'm sorry guys, still no sound. You've got to switch on your imagination. Look at these fresh fruits, they look incredibly delicious. So, I walked around Prague for almost an hour, thinking I was live, showing views, and YouTube was basically telling me, go on, you're doing great, just not publicly. At some point I really thought, wow, nobody is chatting today, very peaceful. I tried to push you for engaging, always telling you to give me the directions. Turns out nobody was chatting because nobody was actually watching. Again, some beautiful Christmas baubles. These are like fallen in snow, so glittering and beautiful. Yeah, here you can see also the winter gardens of the restaurants are beautifully decorated. And this square is just so beautiful. So still no sound. Yeah, here we are coming to the Christmas tree. Here's the traditional Prague ham. I can literally smell it. But guys, when you are in Prague, you should try this ham, but you have to pay attention. So, as I told you, you have to pay attention. You have to be careful with the portion size. Sometimes the vendors go a little wild and suddenly you've got half a kilo of ham on your plate, which no human being can actually finish. So you need to stop them before they start cutting like there's no tomorrow. And yes, it's not just about wasting food. If you get a mountain of ham at the first stand, you won't be able to taste all the other good things on the market. What do you think about the Christmas tree? Isn't it super beautiful? Just take a moment and look at the atmosphere. Even without sound, it's beautiful. Yes, I know, still no audio. Thank you, YouTube. I'm sure you're having a great day. If you don't mind the silence, just stay with the lights and the winter mood for a bit. Yummy, this cheese looks delicious. Prague doesn't need much commentary anyway. Imagine the carols. Some of them were sung by children. It was really beautiful. Yeah, this grilled cheese is also yummy. Imagine all of the Christmas songs, sometimes brass band, whatever was playing here, because I can't let you hear it. Even though YouTube promised I still was streaming, I kept talking, showing everything, trying people to be interactive, but there was nobody there. And YouTube simply nodded and said, yes, yes, you're live, while it quietly wasn't. Yeah, here you can see some blacksmith. Can you hear the hammer? No, me neither, but I could hear it. If the silence feels a little strange, just put on some Christmas music at home. It fits perfectly, I promise. Yeah, here I wanted to show you there was a platform where you can get beautiful views all over the Christmas market. I thought this lady stood in a queue, but no, she was just taking pictures. Here, a nice jacket, no? A lot of nice jackets. Are you glad you didn't have to go through this crowd? And before you ask, I do plan to come back with the original sound, but stay strong. I show it to you properly with actual sound. But by then, enjoy this beautiful view. I finally found the nativity. This is the column of Our Lady. There are some angels on it. There she is. That's the nativity. That's the backside of the nativity. But no worries, yeah. I'm going to visit it once more from the front side. Maybe we shouldn't blame YouTube alone. Let's say a gentle thank to the internet connection as well. It clearly has its own plans today. But at least if you want to have a calm Christmas atmosphere, this is the world's most silent Christmas visit ever. Yeah, I like this decoration. imagine drinking some mulled wine here or another fancy drinks. There we have the nativity finally. It's really pretty. So and now slowly I'm going to leave the square. At this point, I'm not even sure who abandoned us first, YouTube, the signal, or both at the same time. Let's call it teamwork. So, and now we're leaving the Old Town Square slowly. Maybe a short glimpse at the Old Town Hall. And after heading onto the Royal Route, the beautiful part is coming back, I promise. This silent movie will be over soon. I'm not entirely sure what minute we are at, but the original sound, the second part of the live stream after it definitely broke down, returns at around minute 50. Yeah, no crowds yet here, so that means the crowd isn't assembling yet. So as I told you, we are heading onto the Royal Route. I was thinking about I could read you a bit from Wikipedia just so you hear something for a change, but there's always the danger you might fall asleep halfway through. Yeah, here you can see the beautiful house at the minute with Renaissance decorations. Yeah, and many of them are inspired by Greek mythology. I'm pretty sure you'd stand here for several minutes to just looking at all these details, but let's keep moving and head towards to the so-called small square. Here some pictures of the famous terrace, that's the Instagram star. I'm sure you know these pictures. Yeah, and here on the corner, that's the so-called small square. If you're wondering why it's still so quiet, yes, the audio is still asleep. I mean, it could be worse. Prague could be loud and you would miss it. So, and here we have Prague's oldest surviving well, the wrought iron decoration that you can see, a wonderful craftsmanship. It dates back to the Renaissance time, and it was made around 1560. If you now would like to ask if there's waters, yeah, there is still water. You can drink from it, but not now because it's freezing. And but just a few years ago it actually worked, but now it's connected to the public water system. So now let's follow the royal route. It definitely gets livelier from here. Not louder, of course, because, well, we're still in silent film mode. That's terrible. Yeah, here on the corner you can see a duck shop. I always wonder how they can pay the rent just selling ducks. A nice passageway. That's what I really like here in the city center. There are so many possibilities where to dive in. So, if you ever wondered what Prague looks like when you remove the sound, this is it. All postcards, no chaos. It's a little bit quieter here, but no worry. The crowds will return shortly. They are practically a historical feature. Yeah, and here in this street, I think every second store is with some trdelník. I'm not a fan of this so-called traditional delicacy, but my real human tourists say, but it smells so good, so we can't stand. So here, just 2 more turns and we're heading straight towards Charles Bridge now. That's a beautiful palace we might once visit together. Write me in the comments if you would like to. Don't worry, even if it's silent, we'll arrive for sure. This street is always very crowded. I sometimes hold the camera a little bit up to not film the people directly. So this was my hand, probably someone who I know passed by. This little, it's not a square, but a huge crossing, and that's a beautiful place that I like, with a special charm, even muted. Yeah, here we see the narrowest hotel in Prague. That's the Green Building. It only has 3.5 meters. I've heard it's quite amazing there. That's a quiet corner of Prague. Almost no people go through this street, but you are practically a few hundred meters away from the Charles Bridge. So, still no sound. Just stay with the lights and the rhythm of the street for a moment. Still no audio, but still beautiful. The rarest version of Prague. Yeah, this is the entrance to the Clementinum. That's the second largest building complex in Prague. Sometimes I take a detour through the Clementinum to avoid the crowds in this street, but now I'm going to show you. Yeah. This house was one of the first cafes of Prague in the 18th century. That's a chapel that's also still a part of the Clementinum, and these days you can visit concerts in this chapel. Just enjoy the lights, and if you miss the soundtrack, imagine carols, footsteps, people talking. You'll soon see the Old Town Bridge tower ahead. It's not far away. Silence continues, but now it's basically an aesthetic choice. By the way, I've got a special request from my wonderful friend, the composer Arash Hamidinejad, who also has a channel here on YouTube, composing beautiful, relaxing music. He told me how much he loved feeding the birds here when he was in Prague. So I promised to go to the river. So later we are going to visit the riverside. So your wishes do become destinations. And you can send me your Prague wishes too. Suggestions where to go, either in my Instagram DMs or right here in the YouTube comments. I can't promise instant replies. Live streaming is sometimes louder than notifications. But I do read them and I try to make them happen. So here, this is the most crowded crossing in Prague, I think. And you can see there are massive many people. Everybody already knows that the lamplighter is going to arrive at about 4 o'clock to light the gas lamps. So once more, if there's a building you're curious about, a street you remember, or a spot you once fell in love with, just tell me. We can visit together. We can explore the new Masaryčka building by Zaha Hadid, for example, or the dancing house. Like always, I walk, you choose the way. This is officially the first time I'm actually grateful for the voiceover. The one and only moment we're having no live sound finally works in my favor. Normally, while streaming, I'd have to whisper, but now I get to talk and you get to look and nobody gets disturbed. Yeah, here I receive a flyer for some concert. This this church belongs to the Knights of the Cross with the Red Star. It's the only religious order that was ever founded in Bohemia, and even more unusual, the only male order founded by a woman. This woman was Agnes of Bohemia. She was a princess, one of the companions of Saint Wenceslas at the sculpture at the Wenceslas Square. She even exchanged letters with Saint Clare of Assisi. Yeah, here's some, look, founded in 1233. So, but this church used to be renovated for several times. It's a historically unique and revolutionary building. Yeah, some struggles with my camera. No idea why it happened. And before we leave, let me show you this little corner. There is a vine column, and if you look down, just a second, you'll see the oldest preserved paving stones in this area. These are the original cobblestones from the Judith Bridge, the bridge that stood here before Charles Bridge was even built. This is a tiny piece of pavement, easy to miss, but this is a literally medieval Prague. And one more thing before we move on. Yes, still no sound. The Knights of the Cross with the Red Star the order connected to the church we were in before. They are also the caretakers of the Charles Bridge Museum. It's just next door to here. If you ever visit, you can see a detailed model of the Judith Bridge, the predecessor of Charles Bridge, and learn how the Vltava shaped the city's story. It's a beautiful little museum, wonderful local, and if you'd like me to take you there live one day, just tell me in the comments or send me a message on Instagram. I walk, you choose the way. All right, now we're heading through this passage to get to the river as requested by Arash. Yeah, this is probably the only truly unattractive spot in this entire area. I'm sure at some point someone will make it look less like a forgotten subway corridor and more like the entrance to one of the most beautiful views in Prague. So here we are at the river, and thankfully the silent film chapter is about to end. I'm going to show you a beautiful lookout platform. Here you can see so many seagulls. Unfortunately, you can't hear the seagulls today. Well, I briefly considered imitating them, but then I decided to protect your ears and my dignity. That would be too much. Silent film mode still continues. So now I'm going to show you a beautiful lookout platform. There stands a monument of Bedřich Smetana. You know him, that's a worldwide known composer. His My Country is one of the most famous Czech compositions ever. Look, again, hundreds of seagulls. So Arash, I hope this is how you imagined my visit at the river. Unfortunately, without sound. From here you get a view of the Petrin Hill, our little Eiffel Tower, the castle. Yeah, this is the composer I was talking about. There we have his signature. Here soon we will see the beautiful classic panorama of Prague. That's just amazing. And later I'm going to come back here when it's dark, so don't miss it. So Arash, once more, big hello. I hope this is the river view you had imagined. I'm not the only one who likes to come here for taking photos. We'll walk back soon. Once more again, hundreds of seagulls over the water, soaring, calling. I won't make their nose, don't worry. There is an island. In front of this museum there are the penguins standing normally. I'm also going to show them later when it's dark. So now along the way you'll see marks of past floods. The worst one was in August 2002. Here you can already see the marks on the left side, but I'm going to show you nearer. Can you imagine how terrible it was when the water stands more than 2 meters above the pavement? But Prague learned from that disaster and built flood protections so they can raise some flood protection walls here whenever the water level starts to be dangerous. This silver sign is for the flood from 2002. So these temporary flood barriers, I'm going to show you the place where they can erect them, and they prevent the river from entering the old town. So, all right, now heading back, we'll go through the only aesthetically confused corridor in this whole area. A little longer, just a few steps, and then the silence will finally be over. Yeah, here you can see the place where they raise the flood protection walls. So you'll know it when the sound has returned, not because I announce it, but you'll suddenly hear people again, voices, footsteps, the street. The city will wake up in your ears. So after almost an hour of silent film mode, the world will be about to switch back to audio.